That's a good question. Since, when you look at the last 10 years and the evolution of fintech, all the fintech, mainly the fintechs coming in and really doing, putting pressure on the banks, are fintechs that are bettering the user experience for the consumer on the surface. So, look at the Revoluts, the Monzos, the Wise, all these companies that came and changed, make things that were a pain point in the banks of how you dealt with a bank and made it a bit easier. They came, and the way they did it, because they were not, they didn't have the same infrastructure as a bank. In a bank, because it's heavily regulated, there's a lot of processes in place. You can't be that agile in building technology. And let's be honest, building technology is not the core bank, the core skill of a bank. Now, this is slowly shifting more and more. But for banks, it's very hard because they have so many things they need to focus on. They cannot be building technology for every part of their business. It's just simply impossible. They have, one huge engineering team that deals with a lot of the things. They can't be, focusing on saying, we're going to build a training platform. We're going to build the retail platform. We're going to build it's just simply impossible. Now, when I say banks are becoming fintechs, it's because now they realize that if they don't do that, it's more of the cost of, if we don't do something, we're going to lose consumers. So because of the other fintechs that came and said, now it's so easy to get an app, to do this on your phone. Now, these fintechs set a bar of expectations to the consumers that the banks cannot ignore anymore. So the banks now need to up their game, and they are. I mean, look at Chase. What Chase did is incredible in the last couple of years. I mean, in less than a year, I think they got $8 billion in deposits. No fintech can actually do that, because no fintech will get that amount of funding, and no fintech that has that balance sheet to support this sort of of thing. And you see, so the banks are catching up, and that's why. And I think in reality, in the next 5-10 years, they're both converging to becoming the one and the same. So some banks will die, some fintechs will die, banks, and they're both probably going to become the same. And if you look at the current prominent fintechs, they became like I won't say the dinosaur, but they became like the institutions they're trying to remove. So when you look at some of them, they started 10 years ago, no fees, for free, instantly. 10 years later, there's a fee for this, there's a fee for that. The customer support takes 5 days. So they end up realizing that they're becoming exactly like the same bank, because financial services is very, very back-end heavy infrastructure. As much as you want to do and change and make it easy to the consumer, it's legally heavy, it's regulatory heavy, it's ops heavy, and all this takes time and effort and a lot of know-how. And the transformation in the background takes a lot of time as well, because the system relies on banks. You cannot come say, I'm going to pause the banks and make a rehaul and change things. So you need to change things while you still offer the service to the consumer, and this is what makes it super, super hard.